Hey folks, Ray from DCRainmaker.com here. Today I've got the Apple Watch Series 3 LTE, that's the Cellular edition. Do a bit of an unboxing on this, and more than just an unboxing, but also comparison in size and weight to other watches. I've got a pile of watches out of view here. We'll kind of just dive through and talk about how they all compare a little bit from a size and weight standpoint, and then we'll just kind of get this all set up as well. So pretty straightforward. This is not a full in-depth review, but do check out the link down in the description there. I got way more tech analysis on the Series 3 LTE edition, and as well as OS 4, watchOS 4 that is, that this thing is running. So with that, let's get started. Go ahead and just get this plastic off here. This is a real unboxing. It's not like faked where it's a secondary, good Lord. There we go. Unboxing, so here we go. Fresh off. I went and bought this morning at the Apple Store. I got my order in and just picked it up. So you can see pretty nice. Definitely the etching there just looks really, really clean, really simple. Of course, that's like most Apple devices or boxes. They just look super, super clean. This one on the back here, you can see the numbers or the specs. So I can see the Series 3 42mm space gray black sport and GPS plus cellular. Keep in mind there are both Series 3 with and without LTE with cellular. So you want to make sure you got the right one that you want. Up top here, we've got, it just looks like some paperwork. We'll get into that in a second. And then, of course, the watch right there. I mean, it's pretty much just looking right up at you. We can go ahead and remove this out using that little tray there. And then we have here below it a charging cable. This is kind of like a wireless charging cable where you just lay this on top of it. And we'll talk about that in a second. And then we have a adapter for the wall. And of course, depending on what country you're on, this will look different. In this case, I'm in the US right now, so therefore I've got the US style. And then on the plug on the back there for plugging in USB port. So this, by the way, in case you're curious from an output standpoint, it is just only 1 amp of output. So not all that awesome in the grand scheme of things. And that's all that's in this part of the box. So I'm going to clean this up, and then we'll talk about the other pieces right there. So again, the charging cable, let's go ahead and get this opened up here. There we go. And this is the exact same as before, so really nothing's changed there at all from a charging standpoint. And that's what you're going to see by and large the Apple Watch itself, is that for the most part nothing has changed on the exterior side of it, save one little thing. It is 0.2 millimeters, yes, 0.2 millimeters difference in size, which Apple says is 2 sheets of paper. I'll trust their word for it on that one, because we can't see that. The human eye can't see that easily anyways. So here is the watch itself. We'll go to remove the plastic around it. Let's see if we can do this without breaking anything important. Let's see, there we go. There's that little, boom, all done. And that pops out, and we're good to go. Now, the easiest way, the only way really, to tell apart a Apple Watch Series 3 with LTE, with cellular, is the red button. And some people don't like it, but I think it's kind of cool in a way, and I might change my mind eventually, but right now I'm good with the red button there. It makes it easy to see from far away whether or not someone has the cellular version of not. So we'll get this out of the way as well. We've got the box pieces there. We've got, of course, the adapter that we talked about, and then inside here we have some manual stuff. So if we look at that real quick, this is essentially, looks like how to adjust it, how to adjust the fit, how to put it on, as well as how to remove the straps, the bands. So all you do to do that, you just push that little button right down there, and then you slide it out to the side. And sometimes it's a little bit tricky. There you go. You can see it sliding out now. And then there we go. And then it snaps back in place. And the same is true of this side as well. And to put it on, you go and simply put it on your wrist like this. And then it's kind of a bit different than most other watches in that I don't really know of any other band design that's very similar to this. You have it kind of flop out like that first, and then you go under into that little slot there. And that's it. It's ready to roll. You can see it's booting up right now. So it's going to go and probably ask me to pair while it's still booting up here for the very first time. You can see the kind of just overview guidance on that quick start guide of sorts. We've got some legalese garbage that basically is the usual. If you kill yourself, it's your fault. And then we have a secondary strap right here that's small and medium size. So this on my wrist right now is a large size strap. Again, the 42 mil, there's different sizes of the case, but that is a large size. So at this point, it says it's ready to roll. You can see bring iPhone near Apple Watch, and I get this is upside down for you. It's a bit trickier if I put it right side up, because then it keeps locking it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So instantly, as soon as I unlock my screen, it says right there, use your iPhone to set up this Apple Watch. I'll go ahead and do that to continue. And then it's going to go right into things. That red bar you see at the top is just my microphone recording that. It's nothing to do with the app. Pair Apple Watch. Yep, so I'm going to click OK. There we go. Now it's going to say start pairing. There we go, start pairing. And you can see this cool like holographic thing right there. And I just simply hold my phone over it like that for a split second. Get my finger out of the way of the camera. Find it just right. And for whatever reason, it's not working. It's actually not pairing for me. So I'm gonna go to pair watch manually instead. See if we can get that to go. On the app here, there's an option for pair watch manually. So I'm gonna go and tap that. Not off to a good start. Okay, so here we are after the reboot, giving this a whole nother whirl. Go ahead and click start pairing right there. Got the camera again. I'm gonna go right over the top of it. And let's see if we can luck out. There we go. Boom. Success, finally. We're going to set up as a new Apple Watch and then just go ahead and choose left for my preference there of where my what wrist I'm wearing it on. And it's going to walk me through this setup process, ask a couple questions, it's going to add things like Apple Pay to it. It's going to attempt to set up cellular service. The whole process does take a few minutes to complete, generally between 2 and 5, depending on how lucky you are. Go ahead and agree to the terms, mostly because you have no real choice actually on this. You just have to agree to the terms. Then it's going to sign into my Apple ID. This part seems to take a long time when I've tried it in the past on the watches. I'm not really sure why, but it does its thing. Then it's going to ask you to create a passcode. And the reason why you want to do this is you can pay for stuff with your Apple Watch using contactless payments. Your credit card is stored on there. Plus, you got your cell phone number stored on there. So you want to be able to lock that down to some degree in case you lose a device. So just simply tap create passcode, go on the device, create a 4-digit passcode, and then you're good to go. At this point, I can set up Apple Pay. I'm gonna do that later. And then I can go ahead and enable or disable the SOS option. So I can basically, it shows me how to use those options. Click continue. Set up cellular. I'm gonna give this a whirl. I have a feeling it'll probably fail. That's generally what I've heard from a lot of other folks today, that you have to probably do it a few times and then usually call, in my case, AT&T to try to get things all sorted out. Still, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens here. Almost done. It says almost there. Thanks for waiting. We'll see if it'll succeed. Go and choose login to my AT&T account. And this is what's actually really cool about this over most other options in the market today, is they don't necessarily have the ability to have basically number portability between your phone and your watch. So it's the same number between both of them. I can leave my phone behind, just use my watch, go out for a run, and have it go right to this here. So all my friends only need to know one number, my normal number, and it goes to both places. AT&T calls that number sync. In my case, it's saying activation unsuccessful, and I've got to call AT&T to sort things out. So rather than wait on the phone with that here with you, I'm gonna go and skip this step for right now, and I'll choose to install all available apps on it. And now the watch is gonna install the app. So it's gonna take a little bit of time for that to complete. So while that does that, we'll go and get started on the size comparisons and look at that. So let's just kind of slide some of this stuff out of the way right now and focus just on weight and size. So I got my handy dandy scale here with me. We're gonna start off with just the watch itself. We'll go change it over to grams, there we go. So the watch itself is gonna come in at 63 grams. Again, this is the Series 3 red dot right there with LTE connectivity. Next, we'll look at the Series 2 in this case. Yeah, Series 2. And this is a 38 mil, so it's a little bit smaller, as you can see, if you look at the two side by side. So again, it's going to be probably lighter. So I know they're not a perfect comparison between the two of them, but that is 51, 52 grams there. I would expect, by the way, that if you have the same size on both of them, they're probably identical, given that there's almost no changes from a exterior standpoint other than essentially the antenna in there and a slightly different chipset in there for the cellular part of it. And the same is true as well. If I go back to all the way the original Apple Watch, in this case, this is the 42 mil case with the leather strap. So again, different hardware, I totally get that. That's coming at 69 grams, but that just to give you a bit of a feeling between these different ones as to what the sizes might look like or the weights might look like. So looking at some other options on the market here, we've got the Vivo Active 3 from Garmin. This just came out. A lot of folks in the fitness realm would be comparing these units, and another one I'll toss on there in a second. So that's why I kind of mentioned it here. 43 grams for that. Again, this doesn't have music, it doesn't have cellular connectivity. It does have Garmin Pay, which is kind of their contactless payment like Apple Pay, but it's definitely missing features compared to the Apple Watch. Inversely though, from a software standpoint, this has a lot more natively anyways, workout-wise, than the Apple Watch does. And of course, the Apple Watch has the ability to install apps and whatnot, but this is all kind of on or in one package there. So, you know, to each their own, but there are some differences there. And then finally, the Fitbit Ionic, also again, just recently announced. This doesn't have cellular, but does have music capabilities in it. So if we drop that on there, We'll see very, very similar to the Garmin at 44 grams. All of these watches have optical heart rate sensors on the back of them. And if we look at the sizes of these, they are, of course, different. So we're going to bring back this Series 3 one there. There's the Fitbit Ionic with the Apple Watch Series 3, and then the Garmin Vivo Active. And you can see that, they're obviously different. One's round, one is kind of a certainly squarish rectangular, and this has more of the tapered edges on the side. But they're all kind of similar in size. There is no like huge outlier here. If we look at the thickness of these watches, they're also all fairly similar. You can see that right there. Just looking at them, they're all in the same ballpark there. And the optical heart rate sensor is a little bit different in each one. In the case of Garmin, it's almost perfectly flush. In the case of Apple, it definitely juts out there. Part of that's also for wireless charging. And in the case of the Fitbit, they've sort of put theirs on top of the mountain, if you will. And there's a bunch of other stuff in there, and they've tapered the backs of it in. So with that, we'll let this thing finish up here, and then we'll do one quick swipe through of the apps. Once it finishes up, it's about 30% right now. Okay, about 15 minutes later, it's finished up its sync of apps. Now again, in this case, it's mostly because I have a lot of apps to sync. So I'll slide this stuff out of the way and give you a super quick tour just to wrap things up. Okay, now just from a user interface standpoint, you've got the screen that of course is a touch screen. I can go ahead and press this button on the side here to get into the app menu. I can zoom in and out by going up and down on the digital crown like that. And then I can go use my finger to find apps that I want. There's still a lot of apps that are syncing right now in the background. So it was really just the core apps where you start off with that it's synced. I can tap to open up an app. So I can choose, for example, the weather app here. Right there to look at the weather. In this case, I can see the different weather cities that I've already added on my phone. So it's pulling these straight in: Mukilteo, St. John's, Paris, Washington, Barcelona, Charleston, and Reno. Just for friends and family mostly, and then go ahead and go back here to the home screen, and then again I can choose different apps. I can look at maps, for example, and so on. If I go out here to by pressing this button, I can go into different essentially apps that are running in the background. So I can get rid of one. I can go to weather that I'd already had there. I can go to text messages. I can go up to my activity page. You can see I've got no activity because I just unboxed it, of course. But it's all pretty quick and it's all efficient, which is nice. No real lag for the most part, despite the fact that it's downloading all these apps in the background. So there you go, just a look at things. Just from the back, by the way, the optical sensor that we talked about earlier is right there. That'll illuminate green as soon as I put this on my wrist, and that'll be tracking heart rate throughout the day as well as during activities. So there you go, an unboxing of the new Apple Watch Series 3 Cellular. I'll try to get the cellular piece all sorted out. Obviously, I know a lot of people have had problems with that, both once I get it activated as well as prior to activation, but that's really not so much an unboxing thing as it is more of a general watch thing that I will cover in other videos and in my in-depth review. Thanks for watching. Go and whack that like button down the bottom as well as the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Also, if you see a little ding-dong bell thing in the corner there and you whack that, then as soon as I publish a new video, you'll get an update. There is a ton of new stuff coming in the sports technology realm, especially over the next week. You will not want to miss out on any of that stuff, and there's a lot of videos yet to come. Have a good one.